My name is Antonio Centeno. I'm 34 years old, and I started the Tailored Suit back in 2007. I had graduated from business school at the University of Texas. Really wanted to start my own company and saw an opportunity in the men's custom industry. So the first thing I did, which is of interest to you, is I had to think of a name for the company. And since it was a new idea, the whole idea that a man can go on and enter his measurements, choose a fabric, and design his own garment, I didn't want to try to create a whole new brand. So I thought, let's go with a name that when you see this company's name, you know what it's about. So that's how a Tailored Suit came about. And the word tailoredsuit.com was already taken. So I just threw an A in front of it, and it turns out it worked out really well, because now whenever somebody lists me on any list with other companies, because I start with an A, I always pop up near the top. So that little things like that, I got lucky, and that was really how I came up, with the name. It was really about, I didn't understand SEO enough to realize how valuable that would be, but it's something that within, I would say, a few months, I was popping up whenever someone typed in Tailored Suit, and then they start, custom suit and these other keyword terms. So that worked out well for me.
I noticed you're using a Facebook like button on your main page, and that's something we're seeing more and more. Can you tell me how that's influenced traffic to your page, or other ways in which you're using social media and social networking to drive traffic to your site?
Well, that's pretty exciting, Mike, because actually we just put up the whole Facebook like buttons within the last month and a half, 2 months. So we've, some of that did transfer over because we always had a Facebook. Actually, I remember when Facebook pages just came out, and we were right on top of that. I've always been a big Facebook user ever since I saw it first, and I think it was back in 2006 when I was in grad school. And at that time, Facebook was only for students. And I got into it, really liked it. And so when the Facebook likes came on, we jumped on top. We were actually a bit slower to putting the actual like buttons, but I think that is incredibly, it's just very, very important. But the thing is most companies, I think, make a mistake because they have the like button only on their homepage. And if you're selling only a product, it's going to be hard to get people to like a particular product, although Amazon does a pretty good job of it and the larger companies. But for smaller companies, it's harder to incorporate all that. So the way we do it, and if you actually go through our style guide, we actually give people content to like. And so our homepage, yes, has like now 110, 106 likes. But if you go into our style guide page, which we've got over 40 articles, all of those now can be liked, and a lot of them have at least a couple dozen likes on them. And again, we only implemented this a couple months ago. And I do, whenever I send traffic to them, because we have a Facebook fan page, we've got an email correspondence letter. Whenever I do send people to that website, I always ask them to make sure and like it. And it's kind of a shameless plug, but you want to remind people that, hey, maybe you're not going to buy something from me, but just by clicking on that like button, you do help out the company. And I don't know the full algorithm of how that works, but I do know the smart guys over in at Google are taking this into account. And with Facebook now passing Google in terms of traffic, I mean, that Facebook is not going to ignore its own likes. So.
You talked a little bit about how tailoredsuit.com has worked out for you as far as search engine rankings and keyword terms. Can you tell me about any other keyword terms that you rank for?
See, that's where I probably need a lot of help. I mean, that could be a full-time job for somebody to go out. And initially, when we did do a keyword analysis, and there were certain words we went after. Nowadays, I haven't had time to go back and do a lot of that research. We're a small company based out of Wisconsin, and unfortunately, having an SEO, somebody who focuses just on that, I just don't have them yet.
I want to mention how I came across you and your site. I actually was on Amazon doing some research for microphones and cameras to do video interviews, and I saw you had done a product review of a particular microphone I was looking at. So that's what drew me to your site, and I learned more about your product and service. And so I was wondering how much has doing those reviews, product reviews, contributed to the success of your site, or do you see a lot of traffic being drawn in from that?
It hasn't brought a whole lot of traffic, but it has brought some very interesting traffic. I think that going on and doing a review of an article or a book or a product that's relevant to your industry, it's not going to get a whole lot of traffic, but it's going to get a person at that exact point where they are looking for more information. It's a very, very targeted person you're going to get in front of. And so I can't translate that into how many sales it's turned into, but I do feel it was worth my time. And we also did it because I wanted to get a little bit of practice getting in front of a camera. And in the same way we're doing this video interview right now, I'm also working with my company to get out in video because I feel that really that's where the future's at. And so for 2011, we have some pretty ambitious goals with video, and doing the Amazon videos was I would say kind of a little stop on the way to where we want to get. And so that was really the reason we did that.
We've talked about a couple of marketing strategies you're trying on your end. What are some other online or even offline strategies you're implementing?
Well, we haven't given up on the old school sending out letters. So that's something I haven't done enough of, but I feel that you shouldn't give up on. I think sometimes we get so involved with what's here on the web, we forget that every day, I don't know about for you, but for maybe 2 minutes every day, the world stops and I go out and I check the mail. And I still think that there is a way to get in front of the right customer by sending a letter. And maybe it's something where it has to be more targeted. We've been experimenting with handwritten letters. I mean, when you go through your mail, you get bills, you get junk, and you get personal mail. And those are the three categories you separate them into. And so we've been going with the handwritten letters. And I can't translate that again into sales yet, but I do have an example. On our first batch that we sent out, I actually had people calling me because they basically letting me know that one of the guys we had sent a letter to had passed away. And because we sent them a handwritten letter, they felt that we were apparently friends and they wanted us to know about this. So again, I haven't put enough into this to be able to tell from it, but I still think that before you get all wrapped up in the future and the internet, you have to also remember that there are many other ways of reaching a customer, and the mail is still one of them that you can't give up on.
What do you think has been your biggest challenge as an online business?
My biggest, I would say, barrier are changing people's habits, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do. We've tried. A lot of people, when they buy a suit, they still want to be able to touch the garment. They want to be able to see the finished product. And for what we're doing and what we're selling, that's pretty difficult to do. So overcoming that has been a very tough barrier. Also collecting the information on the client. We ask for a lot, probably over 20, if we're going to make a suit for a man, over 50 bits of information, including 26 measurements, 4 to 6 photographs, and then a lot of other bits of info. We even occasionally ask them to send us in their best fitting clothing so that we can get a better idea. So all of these, I would say, barriers to the purchase, that's probably been our hardest thing to overcome. I mean, just getting people more comfortable with the business model. But we think it's just a matter of time. 15 years ago, if you would have asked somebody to make a purchase of an airline ticket online, people just don't do that. And that's back in 1997, 1998. Fast forward to 2005, or actually right now, nobody goes to a ticket agent. So
you shared a lot of great information with us. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about as far as your business or your domain?
I would say a tailored suit, it's kind of a double-edged sword having an SEO name, in the terms of it's hard, I think, to really create a high-level brand when you have an SEO name. So I'm not going, we're actually looking at starting another company, which would actually have my name. So like AntonioCenteno.com, which would be a higher end luxury brand of suits. And we would offer a more luxury service of going and actually meeting with clients one-on-one and focus on designing a wardrobe. But there's a reason why Ralph Lauren and Louis Vuitton and all of these they use a name, or they use what is normally, it's not something that they've basically built a brand. And I think it's easier at first to build a brand with an SEO name, but it's hard to knock that brand up into the luxury level. And that's probably an issue I faced with a tailored suit. I can only take it so high before people start. It's just not something that it rolls off the tongue and you understand what it is, but you don't necessarily want to mention that if you're at a really high-end cocktail party in New York City, because it sounds almost like a box brand, or it could be, it doesn't sound as exclusive as a brand name. So.